Hello, I'm Sketches.n.Scrubs. I make weekly art tutorials, paint-alongs and blogs. Welcome to another video. I'm going to be doing a beginner-friendly watercolour bouquet. The materials that you'll need are watercolour paint, watercolour paper, in my instance I'm using a sketchbook, a watercolour paintbrush and some water. I'll link everything that you need in the description box down below, as well as where you can find it. We start off with roses by doing a dot followed by C-like brush strokes around it. The key thing with loose florals is to try not to overwork, and the way to avoid overworking it is to just do one stroke per petal. If it's feeling too loose or you just want to add more definition, then while the paint is still wet, you can go back and just add a darker shade of that same colour to the centre and getting lighter outwards. I'm also going to be painting a flower with kind of transparent petals, so because I need the petals to dry, that's why I do one random petal there that I'll go back and work on later, and then I continue to add roses. I don't think that you need a big plan before you start painting, so you'll notice that I haven't done any pencil outlines or anything like that, and I think that gives a bit more freedom when painting. To do flowers with transparent petals, you just need to wait for each petal to dry before you go back and you overlap it, and it kind of gives this wonderful and delicate effect to it. It's not quite loose, but I thought that it would complement the bouquet. To do peonies, I tend to do again kind of C-shaped or tear-shaped petals, and then while the paint is still wet, I go back with a bit of a darker shade at the tops and the bottoms to kind of highlight the fact that they are individual petals. For the lavender, you just get some lovely purple and then do small dots at the top, getting wider towards the bottom, so you end up with a kind of triangular shape, and you can go back and add some darker purple towards the bottom to just again add a bit more contrast and a bit more shadows. Now I really like roses, so I add yet another rose, using the belly of the brush a bit more with this one than I did with the others, and again just making sure that I kind of wiggle my brush around so that it's not, you know, exactly the same shape for each petal. To do a 4 or 5 petal flower, again I kind of wanted it to overlap a little bit, but essentially just doing simple shapes, waiting for the petals to dry and then going back again to do yet another kind of circular shape. I decided that I wanted to add a bit more petals. As I mentioned earlier, I don't tend to kind of create a plan before I paint. I just start painting and add what I want and mix the colours that I like and that I think will go well together. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. In this case, I thought that it ended up working quite nicely together. Now we've gone through quite a few flowers: the rose, the peony, lavender, 4 petal flowers, as well as overlapping flowers, and I essentially just use a mixture of those to add to the bouquet. I also wanted to do white flowers, and with this the key thing is to have a very light shade of either grey or blue, and to be honest pinks or yellows, and then doing the same thing that we did with the other flowers. So with the 4 petal flowers, again just doing 4 circular shapes and then adding a bit of the darker grey where the shadows will be. They are very delicate, very subtle because it's mainly white, and that's enough. Essentially you're painting the shadows as opposed to the actual flower that you're seeing. And the same works for the rose that I did on top, and the, I guess, like baby's breath that also resembles the lavender. And as I say, you just mix the colours and mix the flowers that you have, and you end up doing a bouquet. And when you think that you have enough flowers, you can start adding leaves, which is what I do here. So you can do the leaves by either painting the outline and then colouring it in, or just using the belly of the brush and the tip of the brush to kind of do that shape, and varying the sizes of the leaves and the colours that you use with different types of greens. For this piece I varied the sizes and the shades of green, but the leaves were pretty much all the same with the same shapes. I wanted it to be quite uniform because I'd used so many different flowers. I thought that the leaves should be a bit more uniform. But I can show you in a separate video like different types of leaves that you can add. And a good way to get inspiration as well is to look at bouquets or pictures of bouquets online, so that you can see different shapes that the leaves make and the different types of flowers that complement each other. Again, I didn't do that for this one, I just pulled this out of my head, but that's just a suggestion. Remember not to put a lot of pressure on yourself. Loose florals are very expressive and very meditative and relaxing, and that's one of the reasons that I think I've really been drawn to it in this new year, because I can't really get tired of it. I can just do so many different pieces, and I tend to find that even the ones that I don't love, other people do. So have fun, essentially. I wanted this piece to be very bright and very bold, and there's a lot of contrast in it. So what you're seeing me do now is go back and just add a bit more, more shadows to the center of the flowers, to the bottom of the baby's breath and the lavender, to just make everything pop and be a bit more striking. And once I'm happy that I've added enough leaves and I have the finishing touches, that pretty much completes this loose floral bouquet. As always, I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial and that you've picked up some tips that you can continue in your own art journey. Let me know down below in the comments which flower was your favorite to paint. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can catch the weekly videos, and get in touch on Instagram at Sketches.n.Scrubs to show me your own paintings. Thank you so much for tuning in, and see you next week.